It's the afternoon of August 4th, and late last night on the 3rd in Dayton, Ohio, a, um, a young man with who knows what in his head kills his sister and his sister's boyfriend a bit of a distance away from a nightclub in downtown Dayton, Ohio, and then proceeded to go to a nightclub. Apparently was denied entry while carrying a long gun, apparently, and then returned. Actually, he was apparently wasn't carrying then, but he returns and then proceeds to enter the club, and he shoots several people. The total death toll is 6, 2 of them being his sister and his sister's boyfriend, who were not anywhere close to the club. So then he goes into the club. His long gun, someone grabs the barrel of the long gun, and then he goes to his secondary, which is his pistol, and while trying to shoot there, he probably wounded a lot of people flailing around there. The police were able to close on him, and apparently the police killed him. So we don't know what was in his head. There's a lot of social media stuff going on at this point. That's Dayton, Ohio. The day before, or a couple of days before, in El Paso, Texas, a guy drives several hundred miles from where he lived to El Paso, goes to the Walmart, and enters the Walmart and begins to shoot and kill a lot of people. 26, I believe, dead, and 20 dead and 26 wounded. It's a lot of people that were casualties. This guy no one fired a shot against him, including the police. When the police show up, he does what the guy did in Norway. He puts his gun down and surrenders. Now the cops can't shoot him because he's surrendering after he's killed that many people and wounded that many people. What I find, and we know why too, he was a white supremacist. He didn't like the mixing of races, and he picked that place to make his mark, and now he is still alive to tell his story. But what I've read, and people have been talking to me and said, well, where was the good guy with a gun? Where's the good guy with a gun? It was Texas, for Christ's sake. Ohio is a shall issue state, and you can open carry in Ohio. And first I had to explain each state has their own laws about where you can carry, licensed or not. Let's talk about Texas. Texas is a state where if a business puts up a sign that says no guns allowed, that sign has the force of law. What does that mean? If you carry a gun past that sign, you are committing a felony. Nobody wants to commit a felony while shopping at Walmart. So where do you think all the guns were? Not in the holsters of people that were shopping, but in their cars. Second, about El Paso. Think El Paso is a border town. Many of the people that were shopping there were not citizens or had a green card. They had a work permit, and they were not allowed to purchase, own, or possess a firearm. So the shooter knew that because he was from Texas. He knew the law. So that Walmart was a target-rich, gun-free zone inside of Texas. right? Now, churches used to be, but then after the church shooting down near San Antonio, I think their legislature changed that law. And I think this law about having a sign is going to change as well. I hope it does. So that was Texas. Where was the good guy with a gun? There weren't any, because the good guys were forced to leave their guns in the parking lot in their car. Now let's talk about Dayton, Ohio. In Dayton, Ohio, one of the places that you cannot carry is in a club or at a bar. If you do, it's a felony. By the way, I happen to know both of these because I've traveled to both multiple times. If you carry a firearm into a bar, you are committing a felony. The guy in the Dayton shooting, he knew that. He knew that. He knew he was committing a felony when he went in the door. And he went in the door to start shooting people. So this noise about where is a good guy with a gun, the good guys who had guns wanted to have them with them and were prohibited. They were prohibited. Now in the state that I live in, signs don't matter. I cannot carry in a jail. I cannot carry in a courthouse. That's pretty much it, right? And I can carry anywhere I want, anytime I want. And I see people all the time, whether it's in Walmart or a big box store or the shopping market, restaurants, wherever, on the street. Very few people carry open because they have the right or they have the ability to carry concealed. And most people would prefer that. But let me come back to the where's the good guy with a gun question again. The good guys want to have their guns so that they could return fire. Now let's talk about, I did a video on this. I did an analysis on mass shootings. The result was basically time matters. And even though in the one of the shootings the cop showed up 6 minutes, the first cop shows up 6 minutes later, my analysis showed that for every minute there's a delay when there's a mass shooter, 3 to 5 people are dead. Forget the wounded. 3 to 5 people are dead. So time matters. Time matters. What shortens the timeline is to make sure that everyone who is legally able to carry a firearm in a target-rich environment, that means there's high density of people, people are distracted by doing other things, and there is a low probability that there are enough law enforcement people to cover it. That means parties, fairs, bars, parades, sporting events, all of that. All of that. So when you say, I don't want to have people with guns in my establishment, if there's a mass shooting, that business owner should be sued for the deaths, the wrongful deaths of each of those people and any other casualties that have taken place, because their policy resulted in that. And that would be my answer to that kind of thing. But the state legislatures can come back and say, we're going to do away with this sign means stay out. Now, I don't have a problem with the business putting up a sign. And if they see you with a firearm saying, can you please leave? And then I leave. Or if a place doesn't want to have firearms and they're willing to put up barriers, metal detectors, wand you down and make sure no one can come in without with a firearm, I'm okay with that because it applies to everyone. Right? And then I have a choice, am I going to patronize that place or not? Again, time matters. For every minute, 3 to 5 people are dead in a mass shooting. That's just the way it is. And they don't have to have 1 million rounds of ammo. Each of these cases, based on my training, I can tell that those people were trained in how to use the firearms they did. Now let's talk about the political upheaval, especially with all the Democrat Party presidential hopefuls, right? Let's do a ban on all semi-automatic weapons. That is not going to happen again. That is not going to happen again. There are too many people that own them. There are too many of them. The reason that we have firearms in this country has nothing to do with competition, hunting, recreation, none of that stuff. It has to do with being able to protect the country from all enemies, foreign and domestic, including tyranny, the rising of tyranny as a government. Whether you like that or not, I don't care. Go back and read your history. Go back and read your history. And when the Supreme Court of the United States gets to rule on that, it will be finally guidance to the lower courts. That is the reason that we have the Second Amendment, and the other one is to be able to defend oneself outside the home. So it is a tragedy that those bad guys legally purchased the guns. Well, the one in California at the Garlic Festival didn't violate federal law, but he violated California law. Well, who knew? I mean, it's too easy now to violate California law from outside. And California is not going to be able to force other states, to match them. And that's why, as a sidebar, the Bloomberg and Mothers Demand Action and those folks are trying to create this thing called a firearms-free firewall. Well, good luck with that, because what you're really saying is you want to create 3 states, Washington, Oregon, and California, where there's no guns. And guess what's going to happen? All the mass shootings are going to start ending up there because they know that the people can't defend themselves. Now, we go in the wrong direction. Mathematically, if you were able to remove every firearm from the planet, you probably would be able to reduce deaths caused by them. But then there would be deaths caused by other means. Australia is able to do what they're doing because while large in geography, they are isolated, and their philosophy and culture isn't the same as ours. Now, there are those people who would like to change our culture over time, such that the Second Amendment becomes irrelevant. I'll be dead before anything like that gets even close. So anyone who is betting on that is only taking the money of people who are donating to them, because that dog is not going to hunt. My final point is when we create target-rich environments where no guns are allowed for law-abiding citizens to protect themselves or any others around them, it's a magnet to those who know that and now want to make a statement. Or they're feeling bad because their sister is dating whatever was wrong with the sister. Or I have a white supremacist manifesto, which was the Gilroy and the El Paso shootings. I'm just saying, step back for a minute. You're not going to get rid of firearms in this country. You're certainly not going to get rid of semi-automatic rifles of any type. And any continued effort to go down that road misses the point. All right. So I had to get this out of my head because I hear too much conversation that is based on just emotional reaction rather than understanding what the facts are. The good guys with the guns are out there, and the good guys with the guns want to do what they would like to do in defending themselves. They have to be allowed to do that wherever they are. So, having said that, thanks for watching. and carry on.